Y'all ever notice that every single time I roll this thing out of the garage, I show it to you? I never get tired of that feeling. It is a great moment. First of all, the thing rolls so easy on the grass that, hey, if you're a first-time viewer, I want you to be able to see that every time. Not everybody's going to go back and watch my grass test video, which, by the way, was pretty funny. But secondly, every time I pull this thing out of the garage, I feel like a race car driver getting ready for the Daytona 500. I'm about to fire things up. That's an exciting moment. I want to share it with you. So I got to do it every single time. Never gets old. Anyhow, we're going to cook up some really good buffalo wings. And the wise decision on a Saturday afternoon would probably be to fire up the Weber Smoky Mountain. Predictable startup times, charcoal, set it and forget it. I know. Dinner's only a few hours away. But I gotta be honest with you. I just don't want to. I want to fire up the Lone Star Grill every time I get a chance, even if it's just for a few wings. So let's get to it and have some fun. Alright, we're going to be pretty aggressive with our fire today because we want hot, fast cooking and nice crispy wings. So that is a very, very heaping chimney of lump. You can see there's some nice big lump chunks in there. And I put a full-size oak split on. Normally I cut those in half right in the middle with my chop saw. But I'm going to keep that fire hot enough today to run full splits, hopefully. Got a few more splits ready to go. Some cherry there as well. Get this mostly closed. Just leave the door cracked a little bit. See if I can show you that. There we go. Leave her cracked to get her started up. And my setup in here is I'm going to go top shelf. Obviously that's the hottest. And I used some heavy duty foil to make about a 2-foot long foil boat here to catch the grease because I don't want to do a lot of cleanup tonight. So I'm trying to make it easy on myself. Alright, I told you I was using the speed method today. I just went inside for 10-12 minutes, dusted up these wings, and it's already up above 200 degrees. And even though it's climbing quickly, I went ahead and stoked it and threw a small cherry split on because I'm about to open it up for a few minutes and take a video. And I'm about to put, I don't know, 5 or 6 pounds of partially frozen chicken wings on it while I take the time to break them apart. So I want that fire rocking. And so I threw a small cherry split on there. Now, as I put these on, they're only about half thawed. One of the things I'm trying to show today is that if you forget to pull your chicken wings out the night before, you can still have a party on Saturday. So, these have been thawing for about 4 or 5 hours. Actually, 4 hours for sure, not 5. And they are barely half thawed out. So, I guarantee you they'll get thawed out quick in this baby though. Let's see. Try and put them in here pretty for you. We'll rearrange them later once we see how they're browning up. But man, even with my hand almost halfway across the grill from that hot fire, even with the door open, that draft is coming across so good that it feels like a convection oven across the top of here. That hot air is just flowing. Feels like the Arizona desert with a strong wind blowing. Now I'm starting these about 8 inches from the firebox, leaving a gap there because that hot flame does shoot up the sidewall a little bit whenever you get your fire rocking as hot as I have it. So I'm just trying to protect these while they're still frozen. But once they thaw out, and I do let my fire die down a little bit, we'll probably snug them up a little bit against that wall to give them some nice color. Unless they're getting good color without that step. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now you might be thinking, with partially frozen wings, it's impossible to get your rub on there evenly. There's lots of white spots now that I've peeled these apart. I should have rubbed them outside. Well, yes and no. Honestly, I don't get too uptight about 100% coverage on every piece of meat with rub. The wing tips especially, I'm not real concerned about because they don't have much meat on them anyways. And I'll be honest, the star of this show is going to be the sauce that I make later to toss these in. So I really don't care if the rub is 100% coverage or not. I ain't uptight about it. If I wanted to, I could add more rub later partway through the cook, but probably not going to. This should be plenty good to go. And one other thing I wanted to say was, you may wonder, why do I use Cosmo's cow cover on chicken and pork sometimes? The reason is because Cosmo's cow cover has sugar in it. Even though it's intended as a beef rub, it has sugar, I think, is like the 3rd ingredient or something like that. So I mixed it with that State Fair rub, which sugar is the 1st ingredient in the State Fair rub. And I mixed those, and we'll just see how that goes. I'm just experimenting with it. But I do like using Cosmo's cow cover even on pork and chicken. That has proven to be pretty tasty so far. Let me give you a shot of these wings, and then we'll check out for a while. There they are. That's 2 big value packs of wings. And they're not even taking up the top shelf of this Lone Star Grillz. I mean, you could put a whole lot of chicken wings on this thing if you wanted to. But there's only 3 of us, so we're going to have a hard time eating these anyways. Clarify that recipe real quick. I wanted to film that silently because I got people napping in the house right now upstairs, and kitchen's upstairs. So that was some silent video for you. But those were full cups of Frank's Red Hot Buffalo and of the mustard barbecue sauce. That tastes a lot like Heinz 57, but more complex. And then, of course, the grape jelly was a half cup and a stick of butter. That's easy. And then what you saw me pour in there last, anytime you see me pull the brown pitcher out of my fridge in a video, you can just bank on it being Southern style sweet tea. That is a core value of mine, and you will see it in plenty of my videos. I'm currently using Lipton tea bags. I use the gallon size Lipton bags. Makes it easy. No tags. Just throw a bag in there. And I use 1.25 cups of regular white sugar per gallon. So that's my sweet tea recipe. I haven't made this version of this sauce before. I always change it a little bit every time. Like this time I'm using that new mustard barbecue sauce in it. So if it needs more spice, um, but it's the right consistency, I might just add straight Tabasco because that'll spice it up real quick. Um, if it needs more spice and it could take more liquid too, then I might use some more buffalo sauce, Frank's. If it needs more sweet, on the other hand, and it's at the right thickness, I might just use a little bit of sugar. If it needs more sweet and it could take more liquid, then you could go with a little more grape jelly or a little more sweet tea. Any of those will work. And you know, as always, if your sauce is too thin, just let it simmer longer. Take the lid off, let it reduce a little bit on you. That'll intensify the flavors and thicken it up a bit. So you can play with it. All right, y'all, it's only been about 30 minutes, but I want to show you these wings in a second. They're already looking gorgeous. We got a beautiful hot fire, getting some real nice coal bed there. Probably another 15, 20, 30 minutes max. I'll throw another real small split on. Before I popped the lid open a minute ago, the thermometer was reading 325, which means the upper grate, this reads the middle of the pit between the grates. The upper grate's 25 to 30 degrees hotter usually, but really even from side to side for two-zone cooking is what Lone Star claims. So the bottom grate, if this says, you know, a few minutes ago it said 325, that means the bottom grate was around 300, 295, top grate was around 350 to 360. But they claim only 5 degrees difference from side to side. And I want you to take a look at these wings. Now look at the color on these wings. These wings here are only 6 inches from that flame you can see jumping up behind the baffle. But look at the wings on this end. Same browning up, crisping action is going on almost uniformly across this top grate. That's what I'm talking about, folks. This LSG is a piece of technology. Now I'm gonna cut back about half because I don't want it climbing anymore. I'd like it to plane out. I don't want that top grate getting any hotter than 350 really, since remember those wings are partially frozen. All right, 45-minute mark, and I did 2 very important things. I think the wings on the top are as brown as I want them to be, and I'm sure that they're completely thawed out by now. Here's the beauty of this Lone Star grill with the 2-zone cooking. By moving them from the top grate to the bottom grate, I immediately take it down 50 degrees without even adjusting my fire. Now the adjustment I made last time I was out here brought it down to about 310 right in the middle of the pit, which means about 335 top grate, 285 bottom grate. So I just took these wings down to 285 and threw a new split on. I'm going to keep the intake at half because I don't want the temperature to increase, but I also got to keep maintaining my coal bed. So I threw in the very smallest split that I had just to keep the coals going. Fire looks great. And I want to show you what I did here. I did not have to move all of these down to the bottom grate with tongs because if you'll notice, I pulled my bottom grate completely out, put my tinfoil boat down in the belly of this baby, and just dropped my top grate right to the bottom position. Super simple. I did also flip all of these over so that the bottoms will get nice and brown just like the tops already are. But man, do I love this LSG. Just being able to do that quick and easy pull down, just a few seconds, that took me, saved me 50 degrees. So beautiful unit, beautiful machine. It is cooking totally evenly left to right. And it's doing a great job. So we'll check back soon. By the way, before I go back inside, guys talk about thin blue smoke. I just threw that split in 5 minutes ago, and there is not a tinge of harsh white smoke coming out of here because that coal bed that I had built up with that hot fire at the beginning is a sufficient enough coal bed to take on a piece of wood that size. In other words, the coal bed is stronger than the log. If the log is stronger than your coal bed, that's when you get the harsh white smoke. But because that coal bed is sufficient to take that new log without being overcome, so to speak, or without being snuffed or cooled off, it's producing beautiful thin smoke. So, you know, my philosophy on this Lone Star so far is start hotter than you think you need, and then control your temps down with this, because it is such a precise unit. You're able to do that. Don't be afraid, like we all have been on worse designed offsets, that your fire's going to get out of control and you're going to have a hard time bringing it back. I'm telling you, in the cooks that I've done on this thing so far, let her fly and use that vent to bring the temps back down. Don't start too cold and try and work up from there, because you're just going to be miserable all day long trying to keep your temps up, and you're going to be creating harsh smoke. This way, it's working out great. It's a beautiful unit. It does just what they say it's supposed to do. And I don't know. I'm a believer. I love the thing. I have no buyer's remorse whatsoever. Love it. It's been about an hour and a half, actually, probably about an hour and 40 minutes since we put them on. It's been about 45 minutes since last time we were out here checking. I'm gonna let that die out probably, because I think when I open this door, which I haven't done yet, I think we're gonna find that these wings are about done. Wow, that is beautimous. Those are looking gorgeous. What I'm gonna do is get some gloves on and break one of those apart and look for blood. I don't really care for trying to take a temperature with a thermopop on a thin little chicken wing. I don't think I can get very accurate readings on that, so I ain't gonna do it that way. Let's break one open. All right, let's try and find the biggest one that looks the least done on the outside. I see pink smoke. I see nice pink smoked meat. There might be just a hint, just the tiniest little hint of blood right along the bone. But I think these babies are pretty much done. I'm gonna flip them back over top side up, and I'm gonna put this back, this rack back on the top rack to get that skin nice and crisped up. And I will throw another log on the fire, because I'll need heat to clean this thing anyways. So we're gonna give these another 10 or 15 minutes in the hottest part of the grill up here. A, just to run any last little bit of pink out of there, and B, to go ahead and crisp up that skin. Then I'll bring them inside. All right, y'all, it's time to pull them. Oh, baby. I'm gonna have to show you that. Those things have just darkened up beautifully. I don't know how it will come through in the video. They may look black in the video, but they are not black. They are the darkest chocolate brown. They are perfect. I would not want them to get any darker, but I'm loving the darkness level they're at. Now, I'm committed to always being honest with y'all about how things turn out, and these are not as crispy as I would like. I wish they were just a hair crispier, but that is surely operator error and not grill error. I think a part of that is due to the fact, a big part of that is due to the fact that I put them in here and they were still partially frozen, which is never ideal. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't going to stop me from cooking wings tonight. Sometimes you just gotta remember that barbecue is about having fun. And even if you're not putting your meat on in an ideal situation, you're gonna do it anyways, because you want barbecue tonight. Some of these are very crispy. Some of the skins did get nice and crisped up. Honestly, it's where I didn't put rub. Where there's just bare skin, it got crisped up real nice. Where I put the rub on heavy, it did not crisp up quite as nice. So, we're going to get these inside. I'm going to give you one final update on how I altered that sauce. I'm going to sample one for you. And then y'all can roll on out of here. Make your own wings. Get after it. All right, y'all, here we go. Here's what my sauce yielded. Almost exactly 1 quart mason jar. You can see this isn't quite full, but that's about exactly the amount I have in this bowl that I'm about to dip this wing in and sample for y'all. Now, I do want to tell you, I did alter the sauce for the sake of my family. When I tasted it after the recipe I gave you earlier, it was a little too hot, a little too buffalo hot. I would have enjoyed it, but not everybody else would have enjoyed it. So what I did was I added a 1/2 cup more sweet tea, a couple tablespoons of ketchup, and a couple tablespoons of brown sugar to thicken it back up after that sweet tea and also to sweeten it a little bit. And just to be clear, this is still kickin' buffalo-y. So it didn't weaken it too much. I mean, this is still very strong buffalo flavor. But I did want to let y'all know that I made that alteration to the recipe for the sake of others at my table. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll grab me one of these. And these are, I mean, I just walked in the door with these. So these just came off the grill and they're still a little bit hot. Pull that one apart. Wow. What I want to do is get a nice big dip. So this one I pulled the bone out of. This is all meat and skin right here. Let me get a taste with no sauce so I can tell you what that rub is like. Those are crispier than I thought. Man, that is delicious. That is very smoky. Cooked on that hardwood instead of using charcoal with my Weber Smoky Mountain. I highly recommend the hardwood. Now this one I'm going to dunk in the sauce, and this is the drumstick. Look how, that's a nice sized drumstick. And I'm just going to get it soaked in that buffalo. That is killer. That is so good. You get all the buffalo you want, but you still get just a hint of sweet in the background. It's the perfect, in my opinion, also that sauce is the perfect thickness. It's not thick like ketchup, but it's not runny like pure vinegar. It's between there, and it's got a nice consistency to it that would coat the back of a spoon like it's supposed to, but it coats that wing perfectly. That is so good. I want to show you one more thing before I let you go. Take another wing, the small one here. I'll do a drumstick for time's sake. This is Malcolm Reed's recipe, Alabama white sauce. I'll put the link down below. I've had this in the fridge for a couple weeks. It was good when I first made it, but now it's had even more time to set up and blend together. And I want you to know this is some awesome Alabama white sauce. I'm going to try one with that on it. Folks, this is going to be some dinner. That stuff is amazing. You got to try my buffalo sauce. You got to try Malcolm's Alabama white sauce. That stuff is rocking. It's creamy. It's vinegary. It's salty and peppery and delicious. I'm going to have both tonight. We're going to be rocking wings with multiple sauces at the table. These wings are good enough to eat without sauce, but this sauce is just going to take it to another level. We're going to wash it all down with my homemade sweet tea. Y'all stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching Texas 2.5. This is Jonathan saying, see you next time.